Something happened in December 2024 that almost nobody covered. A machine quietly switched on inside a steel factory in China. No press conference, no viral moment, just a building, some pipes, and a turbine the size of a small room. And in the weeks after it turned on, the numbers coming out of it genuinely confused engineers who had spent their entire careers saying this was still 10 years away. 50% more electricity from the same heat, half the physical size of what it replaced. Running on a gas you breathe out every single time you exhale. I know how that sounds, but stay with me for a few minutes, because what actually happened there is one of those rare moments where a technology that has been quietly developing for over 60 years finally crosses the line from theory into reality. And once you understand what it is and why it matters, you will never look at a power plant the same way again. Let me start with something that most people have never thought about. Right now, whether your electricity comes from coal, gas, nuclear, or even some solar setups, the final step in turning heat into electricity is almost always exactly the same. The second problem is something called the heat recycler. One of the main reasons supercritical CO2 systems are so efficient is that they capture heat from their own exhaust and feed it back into the incoming fluid before the next cycle. To make that work, engineers have to transfer an enormous amount of heat across walls thinner than a human hair, while keeping both sides at pressures approaching 200 atmospheres. The hardware they built to do this looks like nothing else in power engineering. Millions of microscopic channels chemically etched into flat metal plates, thousands of those plates fused together into a single solid block. It is extremely efficient, extremely compact, and extremely difficult to build. It's also impossible to repair once assembled. If a crack develops anywhere inside that block at 200 atmospheres, the results are severe. The third problem is speed. Because the CO2 is so dense, the turbine can be physically small, but small turbines spin fast to extract the same power, often tens of thousands of rotations per minute. At those speeds, normal oil bearings would burn out within hours. So engineers had to develop bearings that either float on magnetic fields or ride on a thin cushion of CO2 itself. Both approaches work in controlled settings, but neither had been proven across decades of continuous use in demanding industrial environments. All three of these problems together explain why, despite 60 years of research and billions of dollars spent across the United States, Germany, South Korea, Japan, and China, nobody managed to connect a supercritical CO2 system to a real commercial power grid. Until December of 2024. The China National Nuclear Corporation switched on a system called Seton-1 at a steel plant. 2 supercritical CO2 turbines, 30 megawatts of combined output, connected to a real electrical grid. Its job is not to burn any fuel of its own. Its job is to catch the waste heat that the steel plant was already throwing away into the atmosphere and convert it into electricity. Steel production generates enormous amounts of heat as a byproduct, and historically, almost all of that heat has simply been vented or cooled away and lost forever. Seton-1 intercepts that heat before it escapes and puts it to work. The results are striking. Compared to the old steam system it replaced, Seton-1 produces 50% more electricity from the exact same heat source. The physical footprint of the system is 50% smaller. The overall efficiency of the heat recovery process improved by more than 85%. Over a full year, the steel plant can now generate over 70 million kilowatt-hours of electricity from heat that used to disappear into the sky. That works out to roughly $4.3 million in additional annual revenue for a factory that changed absolutely nothing about its core steel production. Let that sit for a moment. A steel factory is now generating millions of dollars every year from heat that used to be waste. The factory did not change. The steel process did not change. The only thing that changed is that a smarter, more efficient machine is now sitting in the energy recovery loop doing more with the same input. And once that track record starts building, the applications on the other side of it are genuinely transformative. Small nuclear reactors that are half the physical size they would otherwise need to be. Industrial plants all over the world turning their waste heat into meaningful revenue. Power systems compact enough to fit inside a ship. Solar thermal plants that work efficiently in regions where water is too scarce for traditional steam cooling. Every one of those futures becomes dramatically more accessible, with a turbine that is smaller, cheaper to build, and more efficient than anything steam has ever managed. Here is a small historical detail I find genuinely worth pausing on. The Rankine cycle that steam turbines are built on was formulated in 1859. The Brayton cycle that supercritical CO2 turbines rely on was formulated in 1872. After 150 years of parallel development, we have upgraded by about 13 years of thermodynamic history. But sometimes 13 years is everything. The steam engine did not change the world the moment it was invented. It changed the world when it became reliable enough, cheap enough, and trusted enough to go everywhere. Supercritical CO2 turbines are now at the very beginning of that same journey. The first commercial unit is running. The data is starting to accumulate. The remaining challenges around materials and heat exchangers and bearing systems are real, but they are engineering problems, not physics problems, and engineering problems get solved when enough money and talent are focused on them. Both of those things are now arriving in this field in a way they never have before. That might take another 10 years to fully play out. It might take 20, but for the first time, the countdown is real. And is started inside a steel factory that most people will never visit, running on a gas that right now is sitting in your lungs.